of the Town of Wappinger Town Board to order. May the clerk please call the roll.
Councilman Beal. Here. Councilwoman Bettina.
Here.
Councilman Phillips.
Absent.
Councilman Casella.
Here.
Supervisor Cavazzini.
Here. In just a moment, I'll ask you to join us in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. That will be followed by a moment of silent meditation in memory of our former town comptroller, Dennis Lazinski, who served under former Supervisor Irene Pano. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May be seated. At this time, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda for discussion?
I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda tonight. I'd like to move the lift to the following meeting. And again, one of the things we wanted to talk about was setting a meeting up on November 25th,
Yes.
if we could at all possible. Basically, what we want to do there is we want to have it strictly on ARPA funds. So how we're going to allocate the money to the various projects, something we need to move on quickly. So I'd like to defer that and move that to the hopefully November 25th, if that's okay with the board.
Yep. So definitely keeping that alive. That would be tabled again, stay on the table till
Yep,
the
that's
next
fine.
meeting that we will call at the end of this meeting. With that, I'd also like to add, I laid on the dais and provided to the clerk two resolutions here tonight, piggybacking off of previous discussions to add playground equipment to Castle Point Park and to Fleetwood Park using ARPA funds. These were based off of the proposed write-ups and drafts from the Recreation Director. So I'm asking for consent to place these on the agenda for deliberation tonight.
I'm fine with that. I'll move it.
Second.
Okay. We had a move by Council. Here, we'll take it back. We'll back up. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make the motion. I'll
Moved by
second it.
Councilman Casella, second by Councilwoman Bettina. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Do I have a motion to acknowledge the minutes of the November 12th, 2024 Town Board meeting?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilwoman Bettina. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much. The minutes have been acknowledged. Folks, we do have a public hearing tonight on the preliminary budget. We ask that you come up, state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak. And do I have a motion to open the preliminary hearing?
Before we do that, do we want to read into the minutes the letter from Councilman Phillips because he's not able to attend tonight?
I would argue that that would be under the budget discussion.
Okay, that's fine.
This way we reserve the public.
Okay,
Yep.
that's fine.
So, do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilwoman Bettina. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much, folks. If anyone is interested in speaking on the 2025 preliminary budget, please do so at this time.
Good evening, Grace Martin, 52 Philstone Boulevard in Wappingers. First of all, I'd like to thank the board. Last week on the dais, you basically increased the senior portion of the budget from buses to $7,000 to $14,000. So thank you very much. I just want you to know a lot of seniors watched it from home as well as seen me this week. And shy of saying I'm a rock star, they are proud that I am, as Bill has also complimented me on being a advocate for our seniors. Just want to give you a couple other facts. And again, I'm already thanking you for the other part of the senior budget, which I see that you're going to increase, is our special events will go up $5,000, as well as our supplies and materials will go up another additional $900. So thank you very much. Just to give you some facts, since Kellyanne came on board in our senior center in basically August of this year, the senior center population has grown as members in our senior center here from 138 to 200 people. Bill, here's my math again. That's a 40% increase. So that money will definitely be needed very, very much. I know as a town board, you have recognized volunteers in our community, from the Sports Museum to Little League to soccer, to those people running Inspiration Field, some of which are seniors. Just on the home base here, again, you have complimented the seniors many times, but I'd like to, once again, for the record, say your senior volunteers do a lot around here. You have a garden club that is a full senior-based volunteer service that has improved our grounds. We help at your Earth Day, and we helped recently in the new program called Adopt a Spot to keep our towns beautiful. You also recognize that as seniors, we help your youth community as well. We have filled Easter eggs for your Easter egg days. We've run the concession stand, I'll call it a concession stand, at the Easter egg hunt, where we give all the children their drinks and some of their freebies. Recently, we filled your Halloween bags, and the most recent program that you are sponsoring here is Calls to Santa and Mrs. Claus and the Elves. Just go into the senior center and look at the sign-up sheet. We have many seniors going to make those calls as well. So again, the members of our senior community here, thank you very much for the increase in the budget. One more set of facts is the Dutchess County population is 300,000 people right now. That was the 2023 census. People that are 60 years and older is 80,000, so that's 27% of our population, versus the national average, and I can only get that for 65 and above, so it's not apples to apples, but 65 and above in our nation is 17%. The age group next in Dutchess County that's also growing is the age 50 to 59, which is another 40,000. So if you look at basically in the next 5 to 10 years, your senior population is going to be 1/3 of the population of Dutchess County. And on an average in the nation, every day, there's 10,000 people turning 65. So again, from the bottom of my heart and from your senior community and that senior center that is growing with a very successful program, thank you for increasing our budget.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Mrs.
much.
Martin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace, for everything that you do.
Yes. And I would say, piggyback off of those amazing comments, is we have an amazing community here. And I have always stood by that. I know my colleagues on the board stand by that. Our senior center is more than just a room that folks gather. It is a place for senior enrichment, and that has been a goal that we have had since the beginning of this year, is to make it a true center of senior enrichment. And by growing these programs and obviously expanding what we offer to our senior citizen population, it is reflecting. And we have an amazing team in recreation, and I thank all of them. I thank all of our volunteers, because you're right, Mrs. Martin. Those members of the Senior Center are engaged in our community organizations, our nonprofits, the very fabric of this town. So thank you so much for acknowledging that and for your advocacy throughout the town as well. Do I have any other comments on the 2025 preliminary budget? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move it. Second.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilman Casella. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We do not have a public portion added to this meeting, but I would like to offer the ability to any residents wishing to speak on agenda items only, which is the budget and now these playgrounds. So if I don't have any objection from the board, I'd like to ask for a motion to open a public portion on agenda items.
I'll make the motion to open the public hearing.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilwoman Bettina. All in favor? Aye. Any members of the public wishing to speak on the agenda? Seeing none?
Seeing none, I'll make a motion that we close the...
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilwoman Bettina. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much. We have one discussion here this evening, and that is for the purposes of finalizing their 2025 budget. Before we get into deliberations, I would ask that Lieutenant Neil Stewart from the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office, who runs the Wappinger Patrol, come up and provide the town board with an update of the Wappinger Patrol's activity for 2024.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Neil Stewart. I'm a lieutenant at the Sheriff's Office. I'm also the liaison with the town of Wappinger Patrol. Real briefly, the town of Wappinger's police coverage is covered by the Sheriff's Office, the state police, and is supplemented by the town.
Could you just move your...
Sorry.
Thank
Is
you.
that better?
Yeah.
Is supplemented by the town in a capacity where we are able to put extra patrols out to specifically target problems in Wappinger without having to worry about other issues in the county. Just real quick, we're putting out about 13 patrols a week. They average 4 hours per patrol. Our activity has been increasing throughout the years. Specifically in the last year, we've answered 6,359 calls. It's the last 12 months, not this calendar year. The preceding 12 months was 4,590 calls. So there's a lot more activity this year than last year. Also, our deputies are out doing a lot of good work. Our self-initiated police activity is increased. That's traffic stops or recognizing issues that are going on and responding to it without being called. Our traffic stops went from 641 to 967 this year. Also, we issued about 100 more traffic tickets than we did the 12 months prior, and our arrests are up. So there's a lot of activity in the town of Wappinger. I appreciate you allowing us to do this for the town, and I know we have all your support, and I think it's a real asset to the residents of the town of Wappinger. As you see, there's a lot to address.
Thank you, Lieutenant. And one thing, when I first took office, we sat down at the beginning of the year and pivoted the concept of the Wappinger Patrol to do more targeted patrols, as we're seeing across the town significant need of these target patrols in neighborhoods, as we see motorists speeding, passing stop signs, through neighborhoods, and turning our town and county roadways into racetracks. In working with Lieutenant Stewart, the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office, we've been able to see significant increase in taking care of these situations when we have them, and we greatly appreciate your efforts in that.
If anyone has any problems, they can contact me at the Sheriff's Office or contact you, and you can put us in touch, but we like to address anyone's problems that they're having and try to...
So I just want to make a quick comment, because I've dealt with Lieutenant Stewart here a number of times. Not always on the good side, but I want to thank him for everything he's done. We've had a number of calls where we've actually had a group of residents get together, talk about some of their concerns. We've been able to rectify a lot of those concerns. A number of issues with some of the residents, car speeding, but also neighborly issues you've gotten involved too. But it's really very much appreciated. I can tell you that the residents I've spoken with, you've done an outstanding job rectifying a lot of these situations here, and we do appreciate the extra patrol. We do have some problem child, as you know, a couple, but I appreciate you putting the extra effort out there, because there's a couple incidents where people have a lot of issues and concerns, and every time I've called you, you've been out there and your team's been out there, and I really do appreciate that, and we can't say enough about the outstanding work that you and your team do, so thank you.
Appreciate it. Look forward to continuing that.
Certainly our condolences with you, Lieutenant, on the passing of Deputy Sheriff Nick Gasper. Battled a courageous battle with cancer, and certainly our thoughts are with his family and your Deputy Sheriff family. That said, there's been a lot of anxiety in my ward with respect to the residents that live in the village of Wappingers Falls with the sudden and unexpected change to the schedule of the village patrol, which basically has eliminated overnight patrols. Has there been any discussion that you're aware of with the Sheriff's Office to increase patrols in the village, or is that something that still needs to be discussed?
I don't necessarily know if I have a specific answer for you, but we do cover the village of Wappingers. We have always. We've always assisted the village of Wappingers. We'll continue doing that, whether they're in service or not in service. And likewise, our town patrols, even the supplemental patrols, have gone in there to assist them numerous times, which we'll probably continue to do so as well. I know there was some conversation. I just don't know exactly where it's going.
All right, we'll meet next week. The supervisor and I are going to meet about this. Obviously, we'll reach out to you. We're not going to discuss it this week with the ceremonies and the funeral and the arrangements going on for the deputy. So we're not going to deal with that this week. But next week, we'll have a conversation collectively with the village. Our town patrol shifts are not on the overnight, correct?
There are. It rotates.
We do.
There are some. Okay.
Yes, we do.
There's a couple that go out from midnight to 4 in the morning.
Okay.
And The schedule rotates, so it's not always consistent, and,
Okay.
but we do have some night patrols on there, just not every night.
And that's for the whole town, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So in the meantime, I'm sure my colleagues and I have no objection to expanding the footprint of the town patrol patrol area to include the village of Wappingers Falls until we can reach a more formal plan.
Yes. In the meantime, I had reached out to Lieutenant Stewart and requested that since the Wappinger Patrol already covers the portion of the village there, obviously, be vigilant and add additional patrols if necessary on the overnight for the town, and obviously, keep an eye out on the village to assist them during this time. But again, this is on an emergency situation. As Councilman Beal noted, we will be meeting next week specifically with the village to discuss their ambulance service and the state of their police department.
Unfortunately, as the population goes up in this area because everybody loves it and they want to move here and live here, so does crime. And that's something that we have to address.
Absolutely.
And certainly for any...
You do, I know, but
Certainly for any emergency or critical situation, this town has no objection to our town patrol units leaving the town of Wappinger for any purpose, and I know that's been the past practice. And obviously, that's your judgment call and your members' judgment call. So again, we thank you for the service you provide, and we hope to be able to continue expanding our services.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Have a good night.
Thank you. To move along with our budget discussions, I know that we had a number of outstanding items. I will open the floor to any members of the town board, my colleagues, to address some of these open-ended discussion items.
I thought what we would do first is go through the ones we've already agreed to. So there's a yellow section for those that don't know it, but in the actual package itself, a number of things we have agreed to. So you'll see it is kind of highlighted in yellow. Those are things that we agreed to. Those are the easy ones to get through, and then what we'll do is we'll go to what I call the open items. We can address those one at a time. And what I like to do is do all the yellow ones bottom line. So in other words, I'll go through each line, but we're not going to go roll call vote, because I think we all agree to that, and we'll just do a bottom line. We
On
agree
these
to it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
on
a
the
lot
yellow
quicker.
ones.
Yes, correct.
And you're just going to read what we're changing it to, the proposal?
Correct,
All right,
correct.
perfect.
So for those that have the black and white version,
The lighter one on page 4 is what we have agreed to.
Page 4.
Yes, the darker ones on page 5 is what was still up for
I have
discussion.
the light gray and the dark gray.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right, so here we go. So the first one we're going to change, again, these are all agreed to already, so we just want to make it official so our controller who's sitting in the audience tonight can go ahead and make those changes if you haven't already, and we'll give you a copy, which I believe you already have a copy of already. So the first one is the supervisor, 12200-0100, supervisor secretary. It's going to go from 53,295 to 53,817. The supervisor position again, 1220, again, it's under the supervisor's budget. 0103, deputy supervisor, it's going to go from 1872 to 1890. The budget officer, 1220, is going to go from 0104, will go from 7867 to 5557. Controller's office, 1350-0100, its HR salary is going to go up from 0 to 2450, so $2,450. If I go too fast, please slow me down. Town clerk, 1410-0109, we have 0 in there. That's a contingency line. We're adding 20,000 in anticipation of hopefully some raises for the clerk's office. Town clerk again, 1410-0125. This is a medical buyout. This is independent of the other ones we're going to talk to. We didn't have anything there before. It's now 2,500, so it went from 0 to 2,500. Disaster prep, 3640-0400, 0 to 5,000. The veterans line, 6510-0400, goes from 0 to 5,000. Historical society here, line number is 7510-0400. It's going from 5,000 to 7,500, so a $2,500 increase. Sports museum, 7520, also in the 0400. It's going to go from 5,000 to 7,500, so again, $2,500 increase. And the senior center, this one here is an A. It's 7620-481. This is for bus trips. The supervisor talked about that last time. It's going to go from $7,000 to $14,000. That is what we've agreed to on the A expense. B expense, for the engineer, it's $1,440,0400. We increased it from $85,000 to $100,000. Fire inspector, $3410,0102. Longevity, $300 to $1,200. That's a contractual obligation. We also added in a fire inspector, part-time potential, $3410,0112. Again, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to execute on that, but we want to have the dollars in there to support it in case we end up doing something. It's $18,200, and then there's the Social Security piece of that. It's a 9030-0800. It's $1,800. And then last but not least, for a fire inspector, $3410-0204. It's for clothing and allowance. Again, that's contractual, $450. And then in the DB expense, there are no changes. So I make a motion that we approve those that we agreed to.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Beal. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. The motion passes.
All right, so the next section is items we have that are open. Let me start off with, I think, the easier ones are, and we can have a discussion. This would be in the B fund. This would be 8015-0100. It's for salaries. This is the one where we had a stipend previously in 8015-012. We had 10,000 previously we paid out. That was lowered to 5,000. Basically, we want to keep it at 5,000, but we want to take the additional money, that 5,000 reduction, move it to 8015-0100. So that would go from 90,343 to 95,343. So we would just do a swizzle between those two.
And the reason for why it was removed in the supervisor's tentative budget was because in reviewing the Teamsters CBA, collective bargaining agreement, it was determined that the stipend for certification was only entitled to union members, not non-union. It was, I believe, the consensus of the town board to not take away that salary from the employee and to roll the former stipend into the salary. And that's
Right, so what we want to do, we didn't want to do was we want to decrease the person's salary. So we want to give them the equivalent everybody else was getting. They were getting a 3% raise. So all we're doing is swizzle the buckets.
So the only question I have is that the number that appears in the budget that I have is 91,221 is the salary for that position?
That was one of the adjustments as well.
Yes.
It was, the rate was incorrect. It was in my email, I don't know if it made it.
Okay. All right, so the correct number is 90,343, right?
Yes.
All right, so we take the 5,000 off the stipend line, we apply it to the budget. We apply it to the salary, and that's where it will stay. So the 112 line will no longer exist,
No,
correct?
that will only have $5,000 in it, and that will cover the deputy
Right, that covers, there's one other
administrator.
person that's still in that.
Yeah,
It's
and that
eligible
deputy
for it.
zoning administrator is in the Teamsters Union and is entitled to that stipend as outlined in the collective bargaining agreement.
Okay.
Okay. Any further deliberation?
Not on that item.
Okay, I make a motion to approve that.
Moved by
Change.
Councilman Casella,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Bettina. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes.
All right, next two, which I also believe will be fairly simple too, is the senior center and the A fund, 762407. We're increasing the special events line from $19,500 to $24,500, so it would be a $5,000 increase.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilwoman Bettina. Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion
All right.
passes.
Next one is the senior center again, 762416 is the materials supplies line. It was $11,000 originally. It was cut to $10,001. We want to restore that to $11,000, so it's a $900 increase. I think that was just a typo, so we want to correct that.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilwoman Bettina. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Okay.
All right.
Next line is, there's three of them. There's Town Board 1010-125, Supervisor 2012 1220, 125, and control at 1315, 125. These are all for the medical buyouts. Currently in the budget today, it's $10,000 per person. There are 6 people. Looking at a couple of different options, one of the things we talked about at the last meeting was looking at a 3-year, like the county does, a 3-year before you can do a buyout. That would have been $2,500. I think $10,000 is excessive, so I was hoping to come to a compromise here and offer up a $2,500 buyout per person.
All right, so we have discussed this, and we looked at this multiple ways, right? So initially, we talked about the county initially had a 3-year requirement to be in, and then when you got out, then you were eligible for the buyout of $2,500 on a family plan. It's actually changed to 2 years. I checked the latest contract today, but the point is, the number of employees that are affected by this is very minimal, and I would argue that the majority of the employees are new. So if you're doing this to save money, it doesn't make any sense to have the 3-year requirement because you're not going to save the money for that 3-year period. So what I would say is, I'm not against the buyout, the principle of doing buyouts, but I think that it should be $2,500 across the board, right? I don't think, and I argued for this last time, but I've kind of pivoted now after thinking about, looking at the cost of some of these family plans, and if you put a 2 or 3 year requirement, you're really not achieving anything in the short term, right? And it would be one thing if the majority of the people that were non-union had over 3 years, but that's not necessarily the case, those that would be eligible to do this. So what I would say is this: the 10-10-0125 medical buyout is $2,500 per person on that, in that department, the 10-10. Not saying that everyone or anyone is going to exercise that, but to be consistent, I would keep that 10-10-125 intact. The 12-20-0125.
So we have $20,000 in that today, so I think what you're saying is $5,000, $2,500 per person.
Correct, so it reflects 2 units, right?
Yes.
So that, therefore, that should go to 5,000.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's that one. For the 13-15-01.
So we have to hold off on that one because in order to close that one out, you got to fix 13-15-0100, which is the salaries line.
All right, well, let's talk about that then quick if you want. Let's kind of kick this around because I think this is going to be the last point of contention, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. All right. So there's a couple different philosophies in play here, right? So let's talk about this. Basically, the medical buyout formula is going to be determined on the number of employees that
Correct.
fall under 0125. And right now, we've had some spirited debate about the need for an additional full-time position within the controller's department, right? I personally believe there is not a need for a full-time person, okay, at this moment. I do believe there is a need for at least a part-time person. A part-time person would not be eligible for a medical buyout, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, again, it's going to be up to the board to gain consensus on which direction we're going. There's 3 ways to go here: full-time, part-time, or 0 employee, 0 FTE, right? If we go with part-time, what I would recommend is cut the appropriation in half on the salaries. So if you go to the salary,
There was 50,000 added for a full-timer. You would cut it to 25?
I would be willing to entertain that thought and have further discussion. Cut that to 25,000, remove the buyout option for the 3rd employee and the other line, and that's where I'll stand right now, and I'll yield back to hear your opinion.
So I'll go next. So I don't agree with adding anybody. I think we have an underutilized asset now. We should be using that person to do the job. They've worked in that area before, and I'd rather see them used before I bring anybody else new on board. And I also agree that, so that would bring it down to 2 people, and I would bring that down to 5,000 for the medical buyout. That's my opinion.
And Councilman, I appreciate well, both council members, your thoughts on that. We put in a full-time employee, as historically there were 3 people in the comptroller's office. Now there's only 2 people doing finance. The personnel administrator, who's the HR director in a sense, has always been separate from the comptroller's office. This year, we've been using her. Obviously, we've had a lot of cleanup and significant employee issues where the personnel administrator's time is mostly spent on dealing with personnel issues, which is her job description. We have been greatly blessed by her finance background, where she's able to help, she's able to, but at the end of the day, it is not her job. If the town board would consider a part-time person to backfill what was 3 people to then be 2.5, that would then allow the comptroller a significant amount of time to do her job and not deal with the mundane paperwork that continues with her job of vouchers, purchase orders, and all of the other things that are piled on top of the comptroller's office. I want to stress this. This would not be requested if it was not needed. This is the only addition that we're talking about in terms of staff. Obviously, the town board added a fire inspector, part-time fire inspector, and the department head didn't even request it. To put it in perspective, this was requested by our department head. There's a significant need. There's a backlog. We are seeing that, the department is getting overwhelmed with the amount of work that is happening there, and I would sincerely ask that the town board consider adding a part-time person to assist in that capacity.
We have people that were in that position prior, and why are we not using them? They're already part of this town. That's my question. I don't want to bring on another head count if we don't need to.
I believe in executive session, if we're going to talk about that, it was
That's
determined.
fine.
It was determined that the town board did not want that employee working in that office. And
Good business practices, if you have employees to fill a position, you use them.
And also that employee was moved to a different department where that department historically had a full-time billing person. Now they do not. That employee is now working on between water and sewer billing and other activities. But again, I was working off of the orders of the town board, the request to move that individual. And again, they're moved into a position where there was historically a full-time person always in that office, and that's where she is now. This is, again, asking to backfill the vacant position. There were 2 support staff to the comptroller going back many years in that office. This year, that changed. Again, there's a personnel administrator in a separate department, water and sewer billing, separate department, and then 2 account clerks in the comptroller's office below the comptroller. Now it's down to 1 junior accountant below the comptroller, and the comptroller and the junior accountant deal with all of the finances. Again, to put in perspective, other towns, such as the town of Fishkill, have 5 people in their comptroller's office. Town of Poughkeepsie had 4 people in the comptroller's office. We're not asking for anything unreasonable. We're asking for what was there historically. And again, following the town board's wishes from earlier this year on employee movement.
So what I would say is this, so we're not hiring anyone right now anyway.
No.
So the only thing I would ask for is the authorization of a part-time salary. That doesn't mean we're hiring anyone. That gives us the ability to revisit this post-January 1st, and if there is a need, then we still have to vote as a town board to hire somebody and authorize that appropriation. I think there are points here on all sides. I also don't want to be in a position where we're hiring a full-time employee that's going to do the duties of a previous full-time employee who's still here, which could be a union issue.
Exactly.
So that's
And it would
something
not-
we need to be cognizant of. That's why my angle here is put the part-time appropriation in there. That will eliminate the buyout, right? It's also going to eliminate any other obligations, or not any, but some other obligations the town may have with respect to benefits because it's a part-time position. It will maximize, max their hours out under civil service at 17.5, which will, again, lessen the obligation on the town budgetarily. I think this is a good compromise so we can get the budget approved. And again, I respect all your points. If we do get to the point where we're going to hire someone, the board has to reconvene and make that decision anyway.
Correct.
So this is just an appropriation, just like the fire inspector. We had discussions about a fire inspector position. We love Howie, he's doing a great job. However, we're trying to create depth of bench, right? Because, we want to have someone that's going to be able to shadow Howie at some point and learn, right? That's important.
We look into the future.
Correct. So, using the same approach here, giving that appropriation in the budget gives us some options after January 1st, that's all.
And I greatly appreciate that, and I hope my colleagues consider that as well. Again, the comptroller's office is not something that you want to retract from. We are a very busy town. Councilman Casella, you're in the comptroller's office almost weekly, and you see the amount of activity, you see what's going on. The town board continues to ask of that department, and again, I would like to second, Councilman Beal, did you make a motion on that?
No, because
No,
not yet, because I want to do this methodically, so.
Okay. Well, I would endorse his proposal.
So all I'm going to do first is say what actually Councilman Casella spoke to with respect to the medical buyout in the 125, right?
Right.
125, it's actually 1315, 125,
All right, so that would go down to $5,000 as well. So from $30,000 in the budget today, if it's a part-time person, it would go down to $5,000.
So I would make a motion to do that first.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilwoman Bettina. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we approved the other two 125s at 2,500
Yeah.
at 1010 and.
Those are already
okay.
done.
Yeah,
So the last remaining line is the 1315-0100, which I would just entertain, I think if I do the math right, it would be 342,773 plus 25,000.
Correct.
Yes.
So 367,773 would be my proposal for 1315-0100. That would be a .5 FTE rather than a full-time equivalent. In that line, I'll make that motion.
What was the amount?
367,773.
So the only concern I have about that is, is this person going to turn to a full-time person? So we hire them as part-time, and they're going to end up being full-time,
Well,
and
they
that
won't be
creates
able
another
to.
They
problem.
won't be able
With
to.
board action, you're going to have to not only hire the person, but then
We're gonna decide at a
if there
later
is
date.
discussion about full-time, we're going to have to do budget line changes at
Right.
that point.
Yeah,
because there's-
with all due respect, Councilman, we haven't even gotten to the part-time yet. I think the comptroller and I would just be grateful for what we get. And so, again, there's no talk of full-time right now, and again, let's see what we can do. So, Councilman Beal has made a motion. I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
I think Angela said.
No, you did second? All right, Councilman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bettina.
Aye.
Councilman Phillips. Councilman Casella.
I'll agree to you right now, again, as long as it's part-time, and I just want to make sure that, again, we understand that, when we bring somebody in, that we have also an opportunity to speak to them as well.
I agree
So
with
I'll
that.
say yes.
And aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you.
Is there anything else in this great document that we need to do right now?
No, that's it.
Grace, forever hold your peace.
What?
Oh, wait, yes.
I'm sorry. It was in my email, the engineering costs for your sewer districts.
Yes.
Sorry.
The engineering cost of
For the sewer districts.
So the 10,000 for Midpoint and the 7,500 to Wildwood.
And the United as well, Wappinger United Sewer. That was already previously in there. There's no increase with that. It would just be the 3 districts would be increased to cover the cost that we have for those
Can you tell us
engineers.
what the average cost is to the taxpayer?
No,
Those are district,
it was for the town board deliberation. You'll get it. Yeah.
those are district expenses?
Yes. so-
District expenses. It doesn't affect your tax cap at all. It would just be their
All right, but
rates.
it affects 155 residents in Midpoint and 247 in Wildwood, correct?
And Fleetwood.
Absolutely.
And again, just
And you
to
have
put this in
Fleetwood, too.
perspective, though, Councilman, right now, the entire town is covering the cost of those neighborhoods, those districts. The way that it should be is each district gets booked their respective engineering and attorney's costs. And that legally, that's what has to happen. Correct me if I'm
Correct.
wrong.
I don't think,
So, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. The entire town should not pay for a particular neighborhood. It, by law, has to be spelled out.
Me too.
Yeah,
So-
me three. The entire, basically, it gets broken out by each district. It's responsible for the consultant costs.
Can I have the numbers though, so I can, for the minutes?
So those are
So
districts?
today, let's just be clear. So today,
There's 3 districts.
nobody else is paying for Midpoint at all. It's Midpoint only, correct?
It's being charged to that line, but there's no budget there
There's no
currently.
Right.
That's
But
what's been
The point
happening.
matters is being charged there, so nobody else is paying for that, correct? The residents
As
will be
of
responsible.
2024, because I charged it to the appropriate districts because the new engineer broke it out accordingly.
So-
Previously, it was not charged to
And
the
I get it, we're
individual
going to be short
districts.
on 2025, and that's why you want to do it. But I just want to make sure, because the supervisor is saying that other residents are paying for that. They are not.
Not in 2024.
That's
But they
correct.
would be moving forward if
Well, no, they
we don't
wouldn't.
do this.
Not unless we decide not to do it.
Well, that's what we're advocating
So,
for
but let's just be
tonight.
careful here, because you're making it sound like that the residents in Midpoint are being subsidized. They are not being
You're
subsidized.
calling out your neighborhood, Councilman. I'm not talking about your neighborhood. You're talking about your neighborhood, and I understand that, and we're doing whatever we can to support the people of Royal Ridge. That's why we're applying for millions of dollars in grant funding for them right now, and working to come up with a solution. What we're trying to do is, from the United Wappinger Water District, United Wappinger Sewer District, all of the sewer districts and water districts, all the special districts should be paying for the services.
And
that they
nobody's
require.
saying it, but you made it sound like that we're being subsidized. We understand we have to pay for that. I'm asking you, how much per person is it?
Oh, per person, I
Or
have
per
no-
household?
That I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to do the math. But
Okay.
I think in my email, I requested $10,000 for Midpoint and
I know that's what you asked for.
$7,500.
So wait, so is
I
this
mean-
for 24 or 25?
25.
25. Currently in 24, Midpoint has about $9,000 already in engineering costs, and your other 2 smaller districts have about $5,000. So I went with
And
$7,500
to put
because we
this-
have a few months.
And to put this in perspective for the residents, again, these sewage treatment plants, these small sewage treatment districts are under consent orders from New York State DEC to come up with today's limits from the state. And right now, what we're trying to do is come up with the most cost-effective measures to do capital improvements to these plants to keep them running as cost-effective as possible for the residents in these respective districts. Unfortunately, that comes with consultant costs that need to be bared by the particular district. I think that's what we were trying to get at. No one was saying that your neighborhood was being subsidized by the town. That did not come out of
Okay,
my
I just
mouth.
want to make sure that's clear, and I do agree that if we need to do 10,000 per your recommendation, I understand that, and I would say move forward with that one.
So are there 3 districts affected?
All of them,
Correct.
not just the pocket plants.
These are the small ones, right?
No, these are all
All
of them.
of them.
So what's the total that we need to move here?
It was $7,500 in 2 districts, $10,000 in Midpoint, and then United Wappinger already had it previously in 2024. We just
it
accidentally
over.
taken it out. Yeah, I just need it
Moved it over.
approved to put back in. So I'm not making changes that aren't approved on the budget. So the only increase is the 25,000 in total, split among the 3 districts, if my math is correct.
So the engineering line is going up 20,000, is that what we're talking about?
For the, here, let me send it to you.
So Wappingers United Sewer, which has got 60,000 in it right now, is that being increased?
Nope, that would stay the same. United Wappinger Water it would carry over the 68,000 that you currently have in 2024's budget. Then Midpoint would be increased to 10,000, there's nothing in there. Wildwood and Fleetwood, I want to say, I apologize, it was in my email, but there's so many districts. I can probably pull up the email.
Here, I have it pulled up here.
So it's about a 65 per year cost for the 155 residents in Midpoint.
And this is on their tax bill. Yeah,
On the tax bill.
Is it quarterly? How do you pay your
No,
sewer?
this is the O&M charge on the tax bill. This is one annual.
Okay.
Yes, this is not the quarterly rate.
This is not the
No.
quarterly bill we get from Leanne.
Incorrect,
Sewer
this
tax.
is the quarterly.
No, not the quarterly one.
Yes, it is. Your engineering is in your water and sewer rates. The only thing that are on your tax bill is your debt. That's it. So this doesn't affect your tax cap, this affects the water and sewer rates, not the tax bill,
So this is quarterly.
quarterly. Engineering goes, the only thing we can put on the tax levy for water and sewer districts is their debt. That's the only thing by law you're allowed to put onto.
To book
Bless
to
you.
it. This is standard operating, so, okay. And so again, just to put that in perspective again, 10,000 to midpoint, 7,500 to Wildwood, 7,500 to Fleetwood. And this is based on what the actuals we're seeing right now,
For
correct?
24, yes, the actual bills I've received so far from Paja's office.
That's 25, right?
Yep.
It's 25,000 in total, that's correct.
Okay.
All right.
Joe,
Yeah, do you have everything, Joe? I just emailed it to you. Okay. So with that, we need to have a motion. Do I have a motion to increase these engineering lines in the respective districts?
If we need to do it, I'll make the motion.
a second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilwoman Patina. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Thank you. With that, there are no further items for discussion for the budget. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to,
I do have one more, if you guys don't mind. I apologize for the lateness. Under the A revenue, and I'll just check with the controller here. Sorry, under B revenue. For the sales tax revenue, so right now the budget has $1,915,069 in it. Currently, we're at $1,742,388, which says roughly $580,000 per quarter. We still have 1 quarter to go, correct?
Correct.
correct.
Assuming that it's the 580, we'd be around 2.3 million versus 1915.
Right, that number, sorry to interrupt you, but that number will increase with the couple B fund changes that you've made as well, just so you know.
So it'll get even better?
It will get higher.
Yeah, so my point being here is that when you take a look at all the expenses that we added, what we can do is you can increase that number for 2025 and not only offset that, my proposal is if it looks like it's right now 2.3, we have 1.9, that's a $400,000 difference. I propose at a minimum move $100,000 into that 1915, let that flow to the bottom line, so we'll take care of all the added expenses we just did, and it will decrease our fund balance that we need to use for that particular fund.
So you want to increase sales tax and decrease the amount of fund balance that you're
Correct.
using by $100,000?
Yep.
No. So what I want to do is I want to increase sales tax by 100.
Revenue.
Offset that, the revenue piece, offset whatever the expense piece is, right? Because the expense has to equal revenue, correct? Bottom line. So when that's said and done, say, for example, we had $45,000 worth of expenses, you would add $55,000 to the bottom line for fund balance, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
The net.
So reducing our
Yeah.
fund balance contribution,
Correct.
that's basically what.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
How
we've
I've
captured
been
that.
handling it is instead of doing it from fund balance, we were plugging the sales tax number instead because we were below the anticipated amount.
Right.
So there were no additions to the B fund balance amount. With those changes, it would have went to sales tax versus B fund balance. We were using.
She's just doing it the other way.
Correct. Sales tax as the plug versus
Okay.
property tax, which you
That's
don't
fine.
have. so
My
that you're
point
not
is
hitting
we're going to
fund
come in
balance.
better by almost $400,000.
Correct. That's why I was utilizing sales tax as the plug versus fund balance.
And that's why in the tenant budget, we had laid out a more realistic number for sales tax and everything to lessen the burden on property taxpayers and also lessen the contribution from fund balance.
Yeah.
Correct.
At the end of the day, we're still going to have a
It's still
budget that is under the tax cap.
Yep.
And I would argue among the most affordable town taxes per capita in Dutchess County. I say it every year. People challenge me on this, and we show them the numbers.
Okay?
So the bottom line out of all this, after all these changes, it stays exactly the 1.86% tax cap. If all your numbers come out correctly,
Yes.
right, based on what we just talked about, it will come out to that number.
Okay,
which is
I haven't done the math myself,
Exactly,
so I
so-
won't vouch for that until I do the math myself.
It's
just so
going
you
to
all
be
know.
pretty close to 1.86.
Okay. That's totally fine, I just have not done it myself with my spreadsheet, so I don't feel comfortable vouching until it's physically done by myself.
Got it. No, thank you, and we'll be looking forward to seeing that. And again, 1.86 was the initial that came in under the supervisor's tentative budget. I'm happy to see that my colleagues have kept it within that as well, and we will also be seeing a tax rate decrease with this. budget.
I'll have a final copy for the minutes on Monday.
Okay.
You will have everything supplied to you by tomorrow.
Very good.
You'll get it to it, yeah. All right?
So
Did you
I'll,
want to talk about Chris's note or something?
It's kind of a moot point. If you
I
want
don't
to
know. I
read it, if
didn't
you
know
want to read it into the
No,
record,
that's okay. If you don't, that's
can.
fine. No, that's
It's-
fine.
So we've kind of.
we already addressed everything.
we-
That's fine,
There's
that's
no-
fine. I
yeah.
didn't
So-
want to, miss something that you mentioned.
Okay.
So-
So with that, do I have a motion to adopt the 2024?
2025.
I was going to say
25.
Resolution 2024-207, resolution adopting annual budget for fiscal year 2025.
Just want to make one change on that, and thank you, Grace Martin, for that, pointing that out. If you look at it where it says under the whereas, the very last line, it says annual budget for fiscal year, it says 2024, it should say 2025.
25.
That's just a typo.
Well, thank you for reading.
Thank you for catching it.
And
All right,
keep
I'll
us
move that we
honest.
adopt the final budget for fiscal year 2025.
I'll second it.
Moved by
Second.
Councilman Beal, second by Councilman Casella. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much, folks. So
I just want to thank everybody for the hard work that went into this budget.
Yes, I would.
Believe me.
I would like to summarize what I had prefaced this budget process to the board with, was this was quite the undertaking, and I would like to thank our town comptroller, Jessica Servideo, her staff, for all of her time and effort, all of our town department heads, who since July have been working with Jessica and I to get to this point. I greatly, greatly appreciate every member of our team. This has been a comprehensive overhaul to make this a very, very accurate budget and fully fund our services, expand our programs. And again, I thank the town board for their contributions here during the preliminary budget process. So I'm looking forward to announcing that again, we are under the tax cap at 1.8%. And we, 6%, you know, yeah. 1.8%. And then with a tax rate decrease. So thank you very much.
Yeah, just a big shout out to the controller. I understand new controller coming in, right? I know initially it was a little bit, we were talking two different languages initially, which is, normal because we had things one way for a long time, and you do things a little bit differently, which is great. I think it's actually good that we changed it up a little bit. Thank you for responding to our countless number of emails about sending out this and landscape and portrait and all these things so we can print them out. Because, for us, this, we don't, all of us don't, we don't crunch numbers for a living like you do. So sometimes having, the last 3 or 4 years in front of us makes a little more sense to us, right? But I appreciate the fact that you worked late a number of nights to accommodate our needs, and you've been here at the meetings, and you've answered questions that we've had. And again, I've been here for a while, and each year I say this, this town, we have been successful fiscally because we deliberate in a healthy manner. We lobby for our respective wards and our respective projects and initiatives, and I think at the end of the day, it's actually a good thing that we don't agree on everything all the time, except when we get to the budget approval, we need to have at least 3 people agree, and we've been consistently unanimous. So thank you again for everyone going above and beyond on making sure that we're saving the taxpayers as much as possible. It is an unprecedented time for folks right now, as far as I'm concerned, with the cost of living here in this particular area. And with Central Hudson, and I know you have a Central Hudson event coming up on December 12th where people can have their questions answered about their Central Hudson bills. But it's not just Central Hudson, it's everything really. When you go to the grocery store and you can't get out of the store for less than $100, that's a problem for many people, especially if you're shopping every week, right? So I like to take pride here at our town, knowing that we go to the length to save as much as possible for the taxpayers, and I feel confident we've done that yet again. Thank you.
And we provide the right services.
Yeah, agreed.
Increased services,
All
too.
right, where they're needed and cut where they're not needed. Transparency is very important. We all have checkbooks. We know it's in our bank, and this isn't our money, it's your money. So we try to do the best for everybody. So thank you. Thank you, Jessica, and your team. And thank you, everybody in the town, for making this possible. I thank my colleagues for their patience, insight, and camaraderie, I guess is the right word.
So I'll just make a quick comment. So thank you, Jessica. I know I asked you a number of questions in your office at least once a week, if not more, going over the budget with you through a lot of various line items here. Again, we're not going to always agree on everything. We're going to have disagreements on things. And I think, as Councilman Beal has always said before, that's healthy. It's healthy to have, disagreements sometimes, and, you come to a compromise like I think we did with your position in the Comptroller's office, which is something that we need to do. That's what we need to focus on. But I do appreciate all your work. I appreciate the town board's work here. Again, we had some discrepancies and disagreements, but again, that's something that you need to take a look at. And again, we come to compromise, and we are presenting a budget that's 1.86%, the tax cap. So we're below the tax cap, and I think it's outstanding. We have plenty of fund balance, which is good. I think we're going to do an excellent year in 2025, and I think we've also taken a look at some of the categories in the past where we always didn't get all the information we needed for certain consultants, et cetera, that the previous controller wasn't as on top of things. This one here, certainly, Jessica, you are providing more accurate numbers for allowing us to have come up with the budget we did. And again, as a supervisor's budget at 1.86%, town board eventually came into that number. Made a lot of changes, but I think they're all positive changes that we made, and I do appreciate the time and effort, again, from the board, Jessica, and everybody else that was involved, and Councilman Phillips as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you. With that, we have two resolutions that were laid on the desk this evening. I'll read the first one. A resolution to designate a portion of the American Rescue Plan funds to replace playground equipment at Castle Point Park. We provided these resolutions to the clerk as well as the board on the dais. They'll be posted. At our last meeting, Director Jessica Fulton came and addressed the board to replace two very old, aged pieces of playground equipment, one at Castle Point Park that dates back to the 1980s. Actually, it doesn't meet health code standards today by ways of playgrounds. And then Fleetwood Park, which is going to be the other resolution here to replace that small playground. The information is contained here in the resolution. I would ask for a motion for further discussion on the resolution on Castle Point Park that I just...
I'll move for further discussion.
Moved by Councilman Casella.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Bettina. Is there any additional comments or discussion from the board?
I just want to say that, I am excited about us expanding our summer playground program. My understanding is it's going to be expanded to Castle Point Park, so
Yes.
I think that certainly justifies this much-needed upgrade.
Okay. No, I'm looking
Okay.
forward to
Oh,
it. I think
perfect.
it's something that's needed.
Yes.
I think the residents will enjoy it and use it, and it's a great location. If you haven't been there, please go down. It's very, very
It's
nice.
something that's badly needed. We've been trying to update all of our parks. We've done a number at Robinson Lane, Martz Field, Regency.
White Acres.
I know Bill likes to say his turn's coming, so eventually we'll get over to Bill's park. But again, Castle Point has been a long time. Fleetwood has been a long time since we've made any updates. So I think these are important things. I think these are things that the residents want to see. Again,
Yes.
community involvement, et cetera. So I think this is an important step.
Thank you.
And we'll
And-
be incorporating things for the seniors to use also, because that's key.
Well,
Like you
I-
said, nobody I know is getting any younger.
Well, I was going to say, too, we've heard from a number of residents in the Chelsea Hamlet, seniors, parents, everyone combined, have reached out expressing their excitement with this playground. Grandparents will be able to bring their grandchildren there. It will be a great center of community. And again, we're expanding our summer camp program, which is something that we definitely need in the town and has been reflected in the 2025 budget. So with that, we had a motion, we had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Next resolution. Resolution to designate a portion of the American Rescue Plan funds to replace playground equipment at Fleetwood Park. Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilwoman Bettina. This is another neighborhood that definitely sorely needs a playground and a park upgrade. Currently, the residents of the Fleetwood neighborhood play at a playground that is over 25 years old, is subject to vandalism, is located directly across from a sewage treatment plant, and we've heard directly from the neighbors in this neighborhood that they would definitely love an upgrade to their park, and so with this improvement here, we'll include moving it a little bit away from the view shed of the sewage treatment plant and be more of an asset to the residents of that neighborhood. This is a smaller piece of playground equipment comparable to what we've done in the other pocket parks such as Quiet Acres, and definitely is a long time coming for the people of Fleetwood. Any further discussion?
No, I'm looking forward to it. Upgrades would be good.
Okay.
My
We have-
tax dollars at work.
And I would like to remind everyone again, this is from American Rescue Plan funding that the town received and we formally appropriated this year.
We
So,
need to take advantage of it.
yes. So we had a motion, we had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. I know that the neighbors in these respective neighborhoods will be very, very pleased.
The third one's the charm, though.
Yes.
So
And Councilman Beal, when you have time,
this weekend, I would like at least, well, just one of you. I can't have three of you. So one of you, I need to do a little walk on a couple things with a measuring wheel to form an opinion on where this third one's going to go, all right? Because I think there is justification for a third one. It's got to make sure it's going to work where we're thinking. Want to use the ARPA money for the purposes of bringing people together, right? And that's what we've been doing with the ARPA money.
Yes.
The American Rescue Plan money is money that is from the federal government, from COVID, and basically our position has been, let's use that money to bring people together since COVID pushed everybody away from each other. So that's what we're going to do. So we have a couple ideas. I can't really articulate those ideas right now because I don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work, but this weekend, after the rain we get tonight, tomorrow, and Friday, right, hopefully, Saturday I'll be out there with a wheel walking around because I have the dimensions of a couple different ones that we talked about last time, and we will hopefully have something for Monday. Now, is Monday scheduled already? Do we have to schedule
No.
it?
No,
I
we're
was
gonna
get-
schedule it.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, as Councilman Casella noted already. We are looking to schedule a special town board meeting for November 25th, this coming Monday, at 6 p.m., if that works for everyone, to discuss ARPA funding and finalizing the last few projects that we'd like to do. As I announced in my inaugural address this year, each member of the town board brought together different items and different facilities that they'd like to see upgraded. And we have since started to implement those projects, from Chelsea Boat Ramp to the stage at Schlott House to Challenger Field to the Louis Deal Trailhead. So we've been implementing a number of these projects throughout the town. We still have a considerable amount of money left that the town board and I would like to appropriate all of it. And see, as Councilman Beal so eloquently noted, put it toward projects that bring people together. And that has been the vision of this town board this year, is to continue to improve our public spaces and gathering places. So with that, I've informed the town clerk. If everyone can make it next Monday, I'd like to make a motion to schedule a special town board meeting for November 25th at 6 p.m. to
I'll
discuss.
second it.
Second.
Second by
Yeah.
Councilman Casella. All in
Just-
favor?
Just on the,
Discussion?
well, let's say I'll say aye.
Aye.
So just so the public understands, we have to be in contract with these projects by when?
December 31st.
December 31st.
Yeah, so
31st.
that's the issue. That's why we're kind of hustling out here. We had to do the budget, and then we had to get into contract. Go ahead.
I actually have a webinar on Monday to go through one finalization of everything to make sure that we have everything. So it'll be perfect for Monday evening. I'll
Oh,
have
perfect.
every last bit of information needed.
Good,
Thank
yeah.
you.
We want to make sure that we use, every
Every
single
dime.
dollar,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You know,
Plenty of projects.
the people of the town deserve us to use every dollar for what we went through for a period of 3 years. which was not fun, and we never want to do that again. But I do think I think we approached COVID in the town of Wappinger much better than other places did. We continued to find innovative ways to bring people together safely. And now we're going to continue to find ways to bring people together in our community.
Absolutely. Thank
So
you.
we can also use this money too, and I know we use it for a lot of parks, but we can also use it if we needed to, as an example, purchase vehicles,
Yes.
correct? So we know that our highway guys came
Yes.
forward with a package where they're in need of a number of vehicles, same thing with our buildings and grounds, so we could also
Yeah.
apply that money towards that as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Seeing no further business to come before the town board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilman Casella. All in favor? Aye.
Wait, I do want to say something. I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, a safe Thanksgiving. Enjoy your families, your friends. We have a lot to be thankful for in this country. God bless everybody.
Thank you.